So what is better, buying a house or renting? If you've been wondering the same thing, I'm about to walk you through the pros and cons of each. I'm Evan Downey, and I help first-time homebuyers and first-time investors find amazing homes without breaking the bank or spending months making offers and not winning. So if you are looking to buy a house this year or in the near future, be sure to like this video and hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you can get notified every time I release a new video. So I'm guessing you are here because you are considering whether buying or renting is a better option. Well, I'm about to walk you through the overview of what I think is a better option, but trying not to give too much of my own bias or opinion. Some people say you should rent a home, and others say you should buy a home because it's the ultimate American dream. Well, who's right? Well, I want to tell you it is all circumstantial. So what's the truth and what's the best option for you? I want to start by talking about the downfalls of renting. The downfall of renting is this: you're spending your money on something that is not an investment. And of course, all the rent for life people out there will say, well, but there's so many benefits of renting, and there are, but the main thing is, if you're spending, say, $2,000-$3,000 a month on rent, and it's not going into any kind of investment, then obviously it's being thrown away. It's not being used to purchase something or have an asset in a long term as an investment. So ultimately you are putting money into the hands of the landlord or owner, and they are paying their mortgage, or if they've already paid off the property, it's going right into their pockets. So really it's spending money and not having that money go into an asset, into something that is an investment with long-term returns. So that really is the main downfall of renting. But I want to go into a few benefits of renting. So there are a number of benefits, and I want to highlight two main benefits. The first benefit of renting is that it is a relative fixed cost. And what I mean by fixed cost is, for that year or two lease that you sign, there will not be any additional costs, except of course utilities, water potentially. But other than that, you're not having to pay for any kind of fixes on the house or the apartment. You're not having to do any kind of remodeling, or, I mean, if you wanted to paint, sometimes the owners allow you to paint, but other than that, you're not really having to put any additional money. You know what that cost will be. Of course, at the end of your lease, there may be an increase to your rent, but typically landlords and owners, they don't want to increase so much already existing tenants, especially if you're a good tenant, because they want to keep you, and there are a lot of additional costs in marketing the property, getting other tenants, and so they would rather keep you if you're a good tenant and just increase the price by a little. So you know that it's not going to go up 10%, and if it does, obviously you're going to want to find another place or just pay that additional 10%. So the main thing is a relative fixed cost. The second benefit of renting is mobility. And when I say mobility, I mean you can go from town to town, city to city, country to country, and not be fixed in one location. I would say that's huge for so many people. Say if you don't have a family and you're not looking to send down your roots in one location, that's gonna be key, is for you to be able to, on a whim, be able to leave that lease. Of course, there's a penalty if you leave early, but say you have a 12-month lease, you know at the end of 12 months, you can always get out of it and go wherever you want. Okay, so now that we saw the downfall and the benefits of renting, I would like to get into the downfalls and benefits of buying a home. The first downfall of buying a house is fixed location. So it's the exact opposite of renting. If you're renting, you could get out of that lease pretty easily and go from place to place. But when you buy a home, you're fixed there. And really you're fixed, especially because if you buy a house and you sell it, say in a year or two, there are so many costs associated with buying a home, and especially with selling a home with broker commissions and closing costs, that it does not make any financial sense to buy and sell unless it's at least 3 to 5 years. And even then, you're still gonna have those costs, but over time you will have appreciation on that home, so it will make a little more sense. But if you sell your home just shortly after buying it, the costs are gonna eat you alive. You really don't wanna do that. And so you are fixed in that location for a good period of time. I would say at least 3 to 7 years is the typical time that people stay in a home before selling. So that's the first downfall. The second downfall is fixed money. And there's a quote, I forget who says this, my dad always quoted it. It says that the genius of real estate is its illiquidity. What that means is when you put your money into real estate, it's hard to get that money out, which to many people can be a benefit because you're not tempted to spend it, but it also can be a downfall because if an emergency comes, you need to get access to that cash. Going through the whole process of selling, it takes time. Your home may not sell right away. There could be all kinds of problems that arise, limiting you from accessing that money. And people also refer to this as opportunity cost because say the 3% minimum down you put into a home, or even the 20% you put into a home, that could be anywhere from $15,000 up to $200,000. And the opportunity cost means you could have used that cash in another investment opportunity that could have higher gains rather than putting it into a home and just having it sit there. So that's called the opportunity cost. But to some people that could be a benefit, but to many it is perceived as a downfall because that money is fixed in the house. Now I want to get into the benefits of buying a home. The first obvious benefit, at least to me, and please in the comments, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you have any disagreement, I would be very curious to see what you think in the comments below. But one thing I would highlight is definitely the first benefit of buying a home is appreciation. And of course, in a down market, this may not be perceived as something beneficial because if you look at most of the 30, 50-year trends of real estate, year over year, it's typically 3 to 5 years appreciation, which if there's a high inflationary market, and at this point we have inflation of 10+%, that doesn't look very good, but usually inflation is not that high, and 3 to 5% is not bad at all. Of course, if you look at stocks, over time, typically that's 6 to 7%, but the stocks can be very volatile as well. And so the benefit of real estate is when it's a hot market and you get in the right area, when there's maybe a gentrifying area, which I recommend to all my investors, try to get into a gentrifying area that it hasn't hit its peak and is still a lot of room for appreciation. You can have 10, 15, 20% appreciation year over year for many years. And that's what we've been experiencing here in Dallas, is that appreciation year over year has been crazy. I would say, looking at my own house in Dallas, I bought it 5 years ago, it has almost doubled in value. And I calculated it's at least been 10% year over year. And so, of course, it's a really hot market for homes appreciating. And in those times, owning a house and capitalizing on that appreciation is absolutely crucial and awesome. Of course, you have to also consider being a bit more conservative, looking at the longer term, say 5 to 10 years, and average that out. So definitely, if you're interested in looking at your particular market or city, I can go into MLS and look at trends and show you what your market has done and where it's going and forecasts. So please reach out to me. I would love to give you any kind of insight regarding that. The second point I would highlight is, even though it's a fixed asset and you're locked into that house, what's great about it is there's a hack that I want to share with you. So say if you want to be mobile and you buy a house and you put money into it, one thing you can do is you can actually rent out that house either as a short-term rental or long-term, and then keep the money in that house, ride the appreciation, and then go to wherever else you're going. Of course, this can only work if you have enough money set aside to rent or to put another down payment on another house. But if you're able to do that, I like to share that hack, because that can really bypass a lot of the issues with owning a home and being fixed somewhere. Is that when you buy a house, you consider it as an investment for potential short-term rental or long-term rental, and look at those rental rates and make sure you're cash flow positive, meaning you have your mortgage and your fixed costs on that home, and the rent that you would receive monthly would exceed those fixed costs. Then it could be a potential good investment property. So if you do need to move at any point, you have the great rate, primary fixed rate, not an investor rate, and you also can rent it out and get positive cash flow if that is the case for this house. So I always recommend, whenever you buy a house, look at it as an investment and look at those rental rates in the area, and make sure, just in case if you are ever in a hard place and you have to move or get out of there or get out of owning a house, you can actually just rent it out, cover those costs, and then ride that appreciation wave and have someone else pay for your mortgage. So the main thing I want to highlight with owning a home is that appreciation. And what I'm going to do is a part 2 video and really run the numbers and get into the weeds of what renting versus owning looks like. But in this video, I just want to give you that overview of renting versus buying, and how buying, I feel, is lots of times a good option, especially as an investment, to ride that appreciation wave. And then when there is a downturn in the market, people are always needing to rent, so you can rent out that house and have it as an investment property, as long as you ran the numbers before buying and made sure that it was a decent rental market. So thank you for watching this video. I really do hope that you would subscribe to my channel and reach out to me. If you have any questions, leave something in the comments. Did you agree or disagree with one of my points? I would love to hear what you have to say. And please be safe. Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much. Bye.